Hello, welcome to Refining Moment with Uche. This is that platform where we talk about everything refinement, starting from your person to your personality and even to your persona. My name is Uche Imafidon and I am a refinement coach. Now, what I do as a refinement coach is that I help people get polished so that they can present their unique and authentic self in a confident and socially acceptable manner. So today on this episode, let's share tips on how to help you know who you really are. Becoming self-aware, which is knowing who you really are, is deeply fundamental and key to our success in life as humans. And having this knowledge is at the base of fulfillment for everyone. Not having this knowledge, on the contrary, is the reason for frustration, lack of fulfillment, struggles, suffering, the sense of emptiness, and the likes that a lot of people experience all over the world. Whereas having this knowledge is at the base of meaningful and successful living. Knowing who you really are is having a sufficient knowledge of your person and your personality style, your temperament style, understanding if you are an introverted and reserved person or an extroverted and outgoing person. It means having an understanding of why you behave the way that you do. It means having to understand your areas of interest, having to understand your talents, your abilities, your natural gifts and endowments, your areas of different interest, your passion. Okay, so when you know all of this, you can begin to consider yourself as one who's self-aware. And I must say that this particular process takes a lot of deep meditation. It takes a lot. It doesn't just come handy. Let's take some of the importance of why you should know who you are. So becoming self-aware, number one, helps you with having a direction and clarity for where your life is headed. Number two, it boosts your sense of focus and recognition to the opportunities that come your way, to know the ones that are yours and the ones that are not yours. Number three importance is that it increases your desire for growth by becoming more disciplined and improves your productivity level. Good, I'm sure that's well explained. And number four is that it reduces and even eradicates trial by error and comparisons. When you do know who you are, there will not be need for you to try something today and you're not sure if this is what you should be doing, and then try something else tomorrow. It helps save that time. Then number five, it is that it makes succeeding in life predictable. You don't have to dilly-dally. Because number four and number five almost tally. Like, if you do not have to do trial by error, then your success in life is almost predictable. I also need to mention this, that knowing who you are helps you to understand your calling, your assignment, or your purpose in life. It is very, very key. And it's always very important to have this knowledge early enough, because it would help to self-direct you as you go along in fulfilling your dream and your purpose. So now, let's share the important tips on how to know who you really are. Number one is realizing the need for you to know who you really are. So this means you are not living your life to chance. You're not living your life based on assumption or what people told you. You are very sure. So you get to that point where you really are certain that this is who you are. So for that process to begin, you need to know that you need to know who you are. I don't know if that's well explained. You have to get to that point where you begin to desire to know more about you. I think this explains it well. So number 2, therefore, is to meditatively and deliberately ask God in prayer. I'll say that again. Number 2, tip on how to know who you really are is to meditatively and deliberately ask God in prayer. The reason is because He created you in the first place. I mean, who better to tell you who you are than the person who created you? So that's why I didn't just say just pray a casual, psychedelic prayer. No, you have to meditatively, because when you ask God, now what He'll do for you is He'll begin to bring your attention to certain things, certain ways that you behave and the things that you do, the kind of opportunities that are coming your way, and how you attend to situations and to your relationships and the likes. All right, so that's why it's important to meditatively, I repeat, and deliberately ask God in prayer. And let me also say this. Let's read, Psalm 139, verse 16. David, the psalmist, clearly expressed this when he said, I think I'd like to read from verse 13. It says, "You made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it. You watched me as I was being formed in utter seclusion, as I was woven together in the dark of the womb. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed." I mean, this is just very clear. This is a statement of a man who really understood that he was not just put here, by accident, that there was someone who really took time to put him together, and, that kind of helped his becoming successful, his success as a person. And the same can happen for you if you just can get to that point where you begin to meditatively ask God and allow Him draw your attention, because He will reveal you to you. Okay, good. Now the next tip is to ask yourself, ask yourself deep and personal questions that only you can attend to, and these mostly come by observation, when you can sit down to begin to observe yourself. And I'd like to think that this happens usually after you've asked God, and then He opens up your mind and your attention to the way that you live your lives. Now you can begin to understand the gifts that you have, your unique abilities. You can begin to understand your temperament, why you behave the way you do. Remember, I said that one of the importance of knowing who you are is that it helps to eradicate comparisons, right? Good. As you begin to observe and know yourself, there will not be need for you to compare yourself with anyone, because you would have understood that you are uniquely and wonderfully made. You can also take personality test questions online. They are quite, numerous. There are quite a number of them online. So you can take these questions online, having to ask yourself some very key questions that you can answer. And in asking yourself deep and personal questions, you can ask yourself questions like, what are my areas of interest? What do I like? What are my areas of strength and weaknesses? What do I dislike? What puts me off easily? What is that one thing that I can do so well that I wouldn't even mind not being paid for it? And these other questions, you want to ask yourself questions like, what is my learning style? How best do I learn? Do I learn very well by listening, or by reading, or by watching? These are questions that you will sit yourself down, ask yourself, and then become conscious. And the last tip on how to know yourself is to ask others. Now, by others, I mean, those those who probably have watched you grow, like your parents, your caregivers, your siblings, right? Your friends, your colleagues, those with whom you share the same space with. You can ask them questions like, what have you noticed that I'm so good at? What have you observed, that I do so well at? Okay, what are my areas of weaknesses? And when you ask those people, make sure to ask those whom you know are very objective. Do not ask people who are biased, so that they can give you objective responses. Sometimes you may not necessarily need to ask them. You may just notice what they say about you. Often, sometimes they may come and say, do you know you talk too much? Something like that. I get to hear that sometimes, like you talk too much. So I'm thinking, okay, so I think I have my strength in talking and speaking. So I want to see how I can gravitate that positively to becoming, an influence into people's lives. So these are some of the things you will find out as you journey on this process or this journey of self-discovery. And I know that as you get to know more, as you begin to find out and observe, yourself some more, your growth will be, your growth will be inevitable, and it would definitely increase your level of performance and productivity. Okay, and then your success will become hugely predictable, because you now know that you are responsible for how you turn out in life, not necessarily the circumstances around you or the people in your life. I hope that is clear enough. Thank you. So if you've learned a thing or two, do make sure to subscribe to this channel if you've not done so already, and if you have, thank you. Give this video a thumb up. I love to see your likes, okay? And please share your comments in the comment section below with on whatever it is at all that you feel we should talk about on this space. Or if you have questions, you can either put them in the comment section below or send a mail to me at refiningmomentswithuche@gmail.com. Until the next episode, do remember to go ahead and be your unique and graceful self. Bye for now.